clouds, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the cloud types, and then Yolanda's going to show us a craft. So clouds are very interesting. People don't quite realize, basically clouds are many drops of water or ice crystals floating with each other. So they don't realize that air always has something in it that's invisible, which is water vapor, okay? And that's basically water, but in its gas form. I know it gets a little complicated, but there are 3 states of matter, and I think water is the easiest one to think about. So the 3 states of matter are solid, liquid, and gas. When water becomes a gas, that's when it's water vapor. However, when the temperature cools in the air, some of the water vapor will condense into clouds. So it means some of the water vapor, or that gas, it turns back into its liquid form, which is water. And even solid form, I didn't know that, which is ice. So there are some people that are able to look into the sky and they can tell what the weather is going to be.
It's not us.
No, I was defeated. Excuse me. I looked for pictures for this. It's really difficult to tell the different types of clouds, but I'm still going to tell you about them. And I think maybe you'll be able to see kind of the pattern. So the 3 main types are cirrus, cumulus, and stratus. But clouds can sometimes be a combination of these things or a more specific thing.
Yes.
So like an alto stratus. Yeah, it gets really overwhelming. But there's 3 main types.
Right.
So people identify clouds by shape, but also where they are in the sky.
Oh.
And then even the time of year can help them see.
To know.
Yes.
Ah.
I think cirrus clouds are the easiest to identify. They are the ones that are really high in the sky, and they are like kind of like wispy feathers.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Cumulus clouds, they're the ones that we think of as looking as like piles of whipped
Yes.
cream,
Yes.
and they're pretty low in the sky, and they're seen mostly in the summer. The third one, stratus clouds, those are also really low in the sky too. But they're seen more in the winter, and they look like just like really high fog or just like a blanket of
Yes.
gray.
Yes.
And sometimes flakes of snow or even a light rain could fall from them. And the cloud that you really want to look out for, this is the only specialized cloud I'm going to talk about, is the Cumulonimbus.
I knew it.
Yes. And there's a reason, because these clouds can be as tall as 60,000 feet, so they're huge. And they're the clouds that you see during a thunderstorm.
Yes.
So they're the ones we're really looking for.
Yes.
So that's just a little bit about clouds. I again cannot say that I am a master or I understand them perfectly.
No.
Okay, let's move on. So Yolanda, I know that our project uses watercolors, but for folks at home who don't have watercolors, is there a way they can use regular paint?
Absolutely. You can use your acrylic paints. I would choose a green, a blue, and probably a red, depending on if you're going to do winter.
All right.
And so you can put just a drop of that into a cup and a couple of drops of water. And you want it to be almost like Kool-Aid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and if it doesn't produce the effect you want, you drop in a little more color, mix, until you get the saturation or the deepness of the color you want.
Oh, okay. So if I want like a really dark red, I
You
would
put a little more paint, but I would add it to water. A lot of water. Yes. Because you're thinning it out, basically. That's all you're doing is thinning out the paint. But you still want it to be paint.
Right.
So that's going to adhere to a brush. So you got to have some of those droplets in there.
I get you now.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Yes.
Okay.
Before beginning this project, think about the kinds of clouds that you would like to draw. Today, Yolanda is going to show you how to draw stratus clouds using a crayon resist technique with watercolor. But you could also draw the white, fluffy clouds that look like whipped cream, or the high in the sky cirrus clouds. So just think about that before beginning your project.
So now we're going to do our craft, and we're first going to check into our bag. So here's what it's going to look like. And inside the bag, you're going to find a piece of watercolor paper and a white crayon. And what we're going to do today is a color resist painting, and we're going to use clouds. So here's my first finished one, and these I would consider more cumulus clouds, but we don't know really, kind of. So I'm going to do a different shape than this for the one I'm going to do now, and I'm going to show you the process of making your own crayon resist painting. All right, so here's what it's going to be like. I'm going to do more flat, and you can tell I cannot see, but I'm going to make it many lines go across to my page, and then we are going to see how they intersect actually with each other once we paint. Okay, and there is all kinds of depth that's probably going to be created in here. I would say to you, if you get lost in your drawing, you can tip it up so you can see the light, and it kind of will show you where you've painted. So you can do that. You don't have to be totally lost. So I want to create a sky and a ground. So that's going to be it for my sky with this one. And then I'm just going to do a line all the way across. And again, I'm going to do that and see where my ground is. Because what Julia told us was that it's closer to the ground for the stratus. So we're going to try to do that. All right. So that's as much as I'm going to do with my crayon. So then you're going to need to get yourself a container of water, something to dab it off on just when you change colors, and some watercolors. So since I chose the stratus, I'm going to try to do a little darker. So I'm going to put a little bit of black in there. And here's the thing, with watercolors, if you don't want it to be totally black, just keep dipping it back in the water, and it should kind of give you a gray. Yeah, that's what I'm going for, a little gray. And so, actually a lot of gray. And it's gonna look like not that great because it's kind of overcast. I hope you can start to see the white coming through where we painted. There we go. I'm just gonna do the whole page, just so you know. Okay, keep going. Now I am gonna go back and put in some blue to make it look a little more, make it come to life. And because I'm doing this stratus, it's gonna flatten out a bit. So I'm gonna leave some of that white in there to kind of give the effect of that. Okay, and my next set is coming up here. Okay, keep going. Yeah, here we go. You can really start to see this now. When I get to where I created my ground, I'm gonna hold it up for you so you can see better my lines. Okay. And it's picking up some of my texture on my cloth. So there's an idea too. You might not want that. do it on a textured surface, it kind of gives it a little more character too. Aha, I have met my line. This is good. Okay, so I'm just going to show you my sky. So yes, it's a little gray. We want it to be a little gray because of stratus. They show up in the winter and hang low and stretch across the cloud or across the sky, creating cover. Okay, and then I'm going to do kind of a green for grass background, or not background, but grass. I don't want my green to just be one color green. I'm going to mix in some lighter colors. And I'm also going to go back over this with a little blue too. Because it can't be this bright when the sky is that dark. So we're going to dull it out a bit. Yeah. Okay. And just have fun with it. Create your own sky and your own day with this. This very much feels very much like a winter scene to me. Like in the winter where there's not much sun happening and things are a little more brown actually. So that might also be a thing. Put a little more brown in there. I'll do that here in a minute. And green and red turn things a little brown. So I'm going to try that to give it more of a real feel. I kind of like to layer the colors. That gives you more, it's less boring to me. I don't like it if you just use straight brown. You can, but I like to make it a little more dynamic of a painting. All right, so I'm gonna see what this red will do for us. And I'm gonna put a lot of water in it. Oh yeah, there we go. See how that made it a little brown? Browned it right out. Okay. Yep, there we go. It's making it a little darker, which is what I want. And like I said, I am going to go back up there and add in a little blue because it doesn't need to all be just like total overcast. I'm going to have a gray day without it being so gray. All right. That is that. You see how it's drying up here, so now I can add a little bit more color. I feel okay about it. All right. So I'm gonna, this is my lighter blue. I'm gonna kind of start up here. That was a little much in there, so I'm gonna add lots and lots of water. See, and spread it on around so that the gray can still shine through. So you can see that I don't have newspaper under me. It will probably be a great idea to do that. Put some newspaper under you. But it is just water. It's not going to do terrible things. But just remember that right off. And you can now see my lines a little better. Put the blues in there. Just layer them up on the gray. Keep moving it across the page to suit you. And I'm going to make it all the way, go all the way down and touch the ground so you can see my sky. All right. You notice how I'm not necessarily going all the way across? It doesn't have to. You know how when you look up at the sky, it looks like it's kind of zigzagging across the sky? That's what I'm trying to create. Not just straight lines across the sky. And that kind of creates a bit of distance for us. A little bit more On the side, this side. Yeah. So, there is my stratus clouds for winter. So you're gonna let this dry, and then you should be able to see more, more fully. It's like those did not show up really well until it was all dry. So don't think that you've done something wrong. You haven't. It's kind of a appearing act. So first you're gonna draw with your white crayon, and you won't be able to see everything that you've done. And it doesn't matter, because the fun part is trying to reveal what you've put down on paper. So have fun with it and enjoy your cloud exploration. All right?
Well, I have always really liked watercolors, though I don't know a lot about how to do them. So if you were going to make more of that spring day, what would be the difference in how you would do that?
So the difference in how I did this and the other one is, you can see my cloud is just a little more light blue. I would say stick with your blue. If you have in your watercolors white, I would also dip a little bit into there, because you know how bright the blues are in this guy. So you want to pale it out, but use a lighter blue. And just add lots of water to it. And just keep going. And you don't even have to go in a straight line like I did. It's probably more fun if you just go around in circles, kind of. That's kind of fun. But make sure that the color meets itself. And by that I mean creates a full and solid color.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all. And then the ground down here, you can see I didn't put any kind of red or anything in there. I wanted it to seem like the sun was shining on the ground. So basically I put a lighter green up here, then I put an even lighter green, and you probably can't tell that this is green because it's reading yellow up against the green. It is a lighter green, and this is the actual only real yellow in there. And so the closer to you or to the audience I'm coming, I'm doing lighter yellows. And so you just weave in your dark is at the base, because it's the farthest away from us. And you just come forward with lighter.
Oh, that makes sense. It helps tell distance by
Yeah.
the colors.
Yeah. So that's how you get your spring day or summer day.
So we decided to do something a little experimental,
A little sciencey.
but we haven't tried it out. So we'll see how it works.
It looked fun in the
In the
article that we found.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try it. Basically, you need water. You don't have to do this. We're just gonna show you what happens from it. But if you want to, jar of water,
Can.
yeah,
can of shaving cream.
yes,
And then some watercolor. Food
coloring.
Food coloring. There we
That's
go.
it.
And I picked blue because it's supposed to look like a cloud
Yes.
and rain.
Yeah.
And the idea is,
You gotta fill that puppy up too.
yeah. The idea is.
Yep. Keep going. Yep. Let it
Yep.
fill up. Push more.
I think that might be. I think
As far as we can go.
Yeah, and well, I guess we kind of made a really light Cumulonimbus.
Yes, I think that's a good thing to say that we did.
Yes, that was
We don't know
intentional.
that we did.
Okay.
And then you drop the beads in.
Yeah, it's supposed to mimic. Okay, so the idea is with a cloud, eventually so much of it turns back into water that it leaks through.
Mm-hmm. We'll see if it
We'll
leaks
see if that
through.
actually works. So it's supposed to demonstrate that the cloud got heavier, basically.
Ah,
But
so we're going for heavier.
I think that's the idea. But I really think it's just an artistic way to
Show the clouds.
So the cloud, is it doing anything?
It's not moving through.
Okay.
We gotta find a spot where maybe it can move through.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, there we go.
Okay, so now turn it back.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
So there we go. So this is
Oh yeah, there we go.
supposed to mimic rain.
And that is very cool.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it taught us anything sciencey, but
Not really, but it's fun and it looks very cool. Look at
it
the
does
blue.
look really cool.
Look at the blue.
Yep. Yeah, and if you look at it, you can kind of see.
It's kind of following a pattern.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I think it's worth doing just because it's pretty.
Yes, absolutely.
There you go. All right, well that's all we have for you today. I hope you had a good time.
Hope you had fun exploring the clouds with our art project and also our background.
Yeah. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
See you at the library.